From the year 1987 in the St. Louis Dispatch. Cocked hat bowling, it's different. Just by looking through the window of the corner bar on First Capitol Drive, St. Charles, a person would never know the place was the home of the world's only cocked hat bowling lanes. To get to the lanes, people have to walk through the old neighborhood tavern and make a quick left at the end of the bar. Then they have to look down a hole in the floor, which is the extremely narrow spiral wood staircase leading to the alleys. Cocked hat is a spin-off of 10-pin or regular bowling. Only 3 wood pins are used and placed in the 1, 7, and 10 spots, which form a triangle, the shape of an old-fashioned man's cocked hat. You can go through without hitting anything, Norb Borgmeyer said. Borgmeyer is a 39-year veteran of the game and plays on the Miller Lite team. Last year, we were world champions, he said, and laughed. The St. Charles League is the only cocked hat bowling league in the world as far as anyone could tell, which has almost 100 men who are split into 12 teams. Bowlers have to use a 5-inch, 3-pound ball with no finger holes. It resembles a cannonball. They bowl on wood lanes 1 foot shorter and 1 foot narrower than regular lanes. They also get 3 throws instead of 2, and can try for a perfect game of 90 instead of 300, a perfect game in 10-pin bowling. The corner bar's small 2-lane bowling room, established around 1900, has new wood particle board walls, 3 low brick archways, a gray cement floor, and a mini bar with 2 stools. Black rafters, loose insulation, and wires serve as a ceiling. When 2 teams of 5 men each bowl, the room roars with the sound of hard balls hitting the lanes. The ball return mechanism is a teenage pin boy who sets up the pins for 1 lane, then another, and sends the bowling balls clattering down a wood trough between the lanes and back to the men. "Come on, Terry," one man yells. "It's time to get loosened up," yells another player. Just as cocked hat is a variation on regular bowling, so cocked hat bowlers are a variation on 10-pin league bowlers. "The game is not serious," Borgmeyer said. "This is a night out with the boys to drink beer." On one Wednesday night, the Carmelite codgers, haven't you heard of an old codger, joked Jim Pausch, captain of the team, and the choir boys battled it out. Incidentally, the men on the choir boys team occasionally gather at a service station down the street to drink. Sessions they call prayer meetings, which is how their team got its name, said Jim Pentland, owner of the bar. With a beer in hand, the men laughed, heckled opponents, and talked while waiting their turns. In 10-pins, you wouldn't heckle someone when they're getting ready to bowl, Borgmeyer said. "It's kind of a release," said Jerry Murray, captain of the choir boys. "You come down here and whoop and holler. It's a lot of fun." "I wouldn't walk across the street to play 10-pins, laughed Neil Hickman of the Carmelite Codgers, who had bowled 10-pins for 25 years before switching to cocked hat. "This whole game is better than 10-pins, and that's the great thing about it," Steve Parker said. Almost every bowler said cocked hat was a challenging, sometimes serious, but mostly fun game. The challenge they mentioned is trying to get a strike when there are 3 spread-out pins. The only way to strike is to hit the head pin and hope the ball ricochets to hit one corner pin. The head pin has to take out the other corner pin. "That hole is awful big," said Jerry Ott of the Carmelite Codgers. "It's a very frustrating game." The teams play simultaneously and keep score on a huge green chalkboard. When the 5th frame is finished, a beer frame or short break is called, the teams switch lanes, and the last 5 frames are completed. 3 games are played. With many hoops and curses, the first game ended. The Carmelite Codgers were ahead with a team score of 149 to 127 for the choir boys. When Borgmeyer started playing on a team in 1949 at the tavern, everybody seemed to know about it, he said. Originally, cocked hat was played by the Young Men's Germanic Club at a church in St. Peter's, he said. When he, that is Borgmeyer, first started, no women were allowed in the building, said Loretta Borgmeyer, his wife. At that time, Phoenix Lanes in St. Louis was the only other cocked hat bowling alley, he said. The Phoenix Lanes closed years ago, Borgmeyer said. Nobody seems to know where the game originated. Some people suggested it started in Germany, while others say it was France or England, but that's just hearsay and legend, Pentland said. Bruce Pluckhahn, curator of the Bowling Hall of Fame in St. Louis, said he's been all over the world and hasn't seen anything resembling cocked hat as it's played in St. Charles. We try our best, Borgmeyer said. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. We enjoy it, as you see, Pausch said amid the noise of bowling balls and laughter.